Hey, this is Lawrence the Photographer here with a tutorial for you. I'm going to show you how to take this image, which is taken on a green screen, and transform it into this image, which has been edited in Photoshop on my iPad. So I do use Lightroom first to organize my images, and then I switch the ones I want over to Photoshop. I love working with the green screen because you can take it and pack it and wherever you need to use it, you can set it up. Very easy set up. This was actually done, these pictures was done in my client's home, so it was very convenient for them. So here I take the image that I really wanted. I will export it, save it to my iPad, and then I will go straight into Photoshop and import that image from my iPad onto Photoshop. So with this, I like to clean the backdrop first and then work on the actual subject before I start changing any colors, because what I'm going to show you is how to get that to change the color of the backdrop without cropping the subject out of the image and using the layer option or feature here in Photoshop. So I do the content fill to fill out those edges where you can see the edge of the green screen. So now it looks like a simple wall, green wall. Then I do what's called frequency separation. Many of you might be familiar with this technique. What it does is separates the texture from the color so that you can kind of preserve both layers and edit on each layer and keeping the quality of the image very high. So with this, you start with the Gaussian blur after you copy the main image or the main layer. Once you get the Gaussian blur, you will duplicate the Gaussian blur layer and you will hide one of them while inverting the other. You will reveal the original image that you had copied and change the opacity to 50% to get the gray screen here. Once you do that, then you will make sure both layers are showing, and then you will do the linear light to blend them, and that's how you get the original look of the image. But if you look, you see two different layers now. So what I'm going to start doing is I like to work and get the texture together of the skin. So if you have any acne, any thing that's like clearing up the face, sometimes blemishes can leave texture marks depending on how you blur your image. So I like to clear that part up before I go into correcting the color of the subject. So for here, my guy here, he has pretty good skin, so I didn't have to do much on here. This is my brother here, and so I had to do some headshots for him for a project that's coming up, and so we were able to get that done. So the other thing that I like to do is I like to add in the black and white layer and darken the red, which allows me to see the textures of the skin better. So by doing that, I can actually go through and correct the texture more accurately based on the texture around that particular bump or acne or whatever it is that you're trying to correct. Once I go through and I'm pretty satisfied with the look of the texture, I will then go in and delete the layer. But like you can see, I'm still trying to clear up some of the texture. Honestly, you know, when it comes to male models, I don't have to do a lot because sometimes it's good to keep that rustic look in some cases as opposed to completely smoothing out the skin. It just adds more character to the image. But this case, I kind of went in a little bit further just to clear it up, just so that you can see a bigger difference in the work. And so once I do that, I clear that. Now I can work on the color of the image or the color layer. Now the color layer, I'll take the healing tool and I will just go through and correct the colors of the skin. Sometimes when there's too much exposure, as you can see, I'll go in and I'll kind of use a curve layer to lower the brightness of the skin and kind of erase around where you can see that darker part, just so it can balance out the color a lot better. And then I will merge down so that I can combine that layer with the color layer, and doing that again because of the frequency separation, I don't even touch the texture layer. So here with the healing tool, spot healing brush, I'll go in and I will clear out some of the color that might have been marked from the texture. As you can see, doing that. And you can already see the major improvement of the skin and how it's working together, but it's still not quite there yet. As you can see, once we do go through and clear the color in a way that we want to clear it, I'll go in and I will highlight, or not highlight, but select certain certain areas of the face, the forehead, the cheeks, the nose, portions of the nose, or and I will go ahead and blend the skin color a little bit better. But I'm doing this on the color layer, not the texture layer. Doing this on the color layer, you preserve the texture of the skin so that that quality stays the same. So you can see the skin looks so much better, which is what we were looking for. So at this point, the clothing looks good. I don't have to do much work there. So I will go ahead and just kind of blend, or not blend, but merge all of the layers together. Once those layers are merged, now I can go in, add a new adjustment layer, click on the hue, select the green color, which is the backdrop, and play around with the colors. You can see you can play around with the hue, which changes the actual color from the original color. The saturation really makes it more vibrant, or it brings it down to more of a black and white scale. So I kind of play around with that, and the lightness speaks to itself. Sometimes you can go darker, sometimes you can bring in that brightness of it. And so I was playing around with it, but ultimately my end goal, as you can see how it was kind of in those color transitions, it was very spotty. So what I did was I went ahead and edited to the way where the color is what I want, but I kind of worked the smoothness of those color transitions so that it looks like a pretty good backdrop, or a real backdrop, and not edited. And so as you can see, this is the final touch of the image. I love the final touch. I don't have to go in and change the overall exposure, but sometimes what I do is I will go in and add a new adjustment layer, and I'll do curve, just so you can see how the effects work with the curve. It kind of helps blend the image a lot better. So I'll kind of bring that down just to kind of bring in more shadows and make it a little bit more contrasty a little bit. But other than that, I think I was satisfied with the final look of the image. So this is how I went from the original green screen to this new image, which looked as though I was in front of a real backdrop of this color, but it was just edited based on using the appropriate adjustment layer. So thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something well. Do me a favor, if you find any of this to be helpful, go ahead and click the 3 buttons on the bottom to save this video so that you can view later and watch it again and learn more. Also comment, share, and like. Most importantly, don't forget to follow for more tips on photography and other inspiring words and discussions. Till next time, this is Lawrence the Photographer.